Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have some interesting PlayStation 6 possibilities to discuss, and it is no buttons. No buttons on the new PlayStation controller. This is over from CharlieIntel over on X, or Twitter, if you remember it from way back when. And it says, new PlayStation controller patent showcases a controller with no physical buttons. The controller would feature digital buttons to let users pick which buttons are located where. Now, I like this in theory, I guess, but I don't know that if it's going to work in execution per se, because when you're playing a game, it's very tactile, right? Like you need to be able to feel the buttons, but if the buttons are flat because the controller is flat, even if you have haptic feedback, hepatic? Did I say that right? Maybe not. I might be stupid. Even if you have that, you don't necessarily know you're hitting the right button. At least right now, depending on which console I'm playing, I know that I hit square or X or A or circle or triangle or what have you. If you can just put it anywhere, there's going to have to be some kind of, I don't know, braille or indentation or something to let you know that's where the actual button is. Because if it's just virtual, you're going to be searching for buttons that aren't there and you're going to be pressing the wrong button, in my humble opinion. Now, if you don't know what's going on with Sony, a lot of people are very annoyed because Sony said they were going to end physical discs by the end of 2027, beginning of 2028. And gamers, including myself, are a little annoyed by this because it's always been nice to have the option. I understand wanting to go digital, but I think you should also give people the opportunity to have their own their own physical media if they want it. So, as you can probably expect, the comments to this have been hilarious. Let's bring up one. Jordan said, took our discs, now they're taking our damn buttons. He's not wrong. Well done, Jordan. Also, one day Kanye will release an empty CD album and tell his fans to imagine the music. They'll be like, I hear it. I hear it. That was, I think, a repost from Brian via Chocolate Bar. And then there was from Tom Frost, Sony announces PS6 controllers would be digital only. You can use it with your mind, maybe? Maybe it's like Neuralink. Maybe that's what they're going to go for. It's going to be the Neuralink controller for the PS6. However, I did want to show like both sides of this because just below that, Gerald said, well, hang on now, y'all. As a disabled person, this sounds interesting. For some people, it is hard to hold a controller and press certain buttons. If we can have the buttons located anywhere, this would actually be pretty useful. So I think he's got a point there. I knew a guy when I was first working, and he had a disability with one of his hands. And he loved to game, but the only games he could play were racing games because he could get the simulation controller and pedals and play the race games that way. And I think he still used his hand to shift, but he didn't have a lot of dexterity there. So there is a lot of possibilities here with maybe people who can't use a controller in the traditional sense. And I think that's potentially a pretty big positive for those that still want to enjoy games, or maybe there has been a barrier to entry to games, if you will. So I think depending on how Sony does this, it could be all right. It's just interesting that it comes on the heels of disc gate or physical media gate or whatever it is we're calling this current controversy. I'd be interested to get your thoughts. What do you think? Would you use a controller with no buttons that you could pre-program yourself? So you could put everything on the triggers, I guess, or you could put, I guess you could put anything anywhere. For those of us who are left-handed, if you wanted to put the movements on the right side and the buttons on the left, that wouldn't be a problem anymore. So it does have some possibilities. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Will you use this new buttonless controller? Will you even be buying a PS6 based on them taking away physical discs? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe and share, and I will see you all in the next one.